Hello everyone and welcome to the Impact Play, impacting more than just gaming. We are your weekly source for the latest news, updates, discussions, and debates that bridges out beyond just gaming. We're not only blurring the lines between gaming, entertainment, sports, and music, plus we're even amplifying the voices from those perspective fields, having those stories told here at the Impact Play. You can be a part of the live show experience over at twitch.tv the Impact Play. By clicking on that notification bell so you will be notified when we do go live, or later on YouTube, or even on your favorite podcast platform. Just simply search for the Impact Play. However you consume your content, whatever you consume it, we are there. Join us at Patreon, where server recruits and above get the show ad-free. Go to recruits and above have exclusive access not only to the post show, but they can even call in to be a part of the live show experience, plus early access to our VODs and so much more. Learn more and become a Patreon recruit today at patreon.com/the Impact Play. Without further ado, this is the first episode of Impact Play the Impact Play reviews, and this is gonna be a spoiler warning as well. So for those of you who haven't watched Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings already, because it's been over a week since it's been available. So if you guys haven't watched it already, be sure to skip this or go back to it as soon as you watch it. And our take of the latest MCU film that have hit theaters. So without further ado, let's hop into it. So I was excited when I first watched it. As soon as I watched it in theaters as well. There was barely that many people. I watched it in a Regal theater, which was pretty decent. I prefer AMC because not only do you dine in, I prefer dining theaters as well. Plus, the seats recline. But in Regal, I haven't seen a theater where the seats recline or dine in or any of that. But regardless of the fact, it was a great experience. And yeah, so literally the music was great and it matched the theme of the film, which was good. And then I liked where they took us back in time to give us a brief history lesson of what happened that led to Shang-Chi and his father. So his father pretty much just wanted power, wanted money, but he found that's what he was after until he found his wife. They fell in love, which was phenomenal, which I never expected to happen. He just wanted to conquer that village, and for power essentially. But he fell in love. They settled down. They had kids, but since her passing, I feel like he lost himself, which was sad because his son and daughter needed him, but he was just so lost. He couldn't find himself until the very end before his passing, towards the very end of the film. So I guess time flies. The wife passes, so he goes back to who he once was. He figured that was the only way. And with me, with films in general, I enjoy a good story. As long as the story is great, I'll have a ranging from a decent experience to a phenomenal experience. So from like a C+ to an A+ rating. So we're gonna keep going on, okay? So from then on, it was pretty decent. It took a minute for it to pick up, but regardless of the fact, you had to pay attention to the film in order to know the history. So let's fast forward a little bit, where the mother passes away, his wife. He trains his son, but kind of disregards his daughter. Like he wouldn't let her train out with them. But let's keep going. Let's keep moving on. So the daughter trains on her own. Fast forward a little bit more. The son, Shang-Chi, I'm assuming that's how you say it. Hopefully I don't botch it, but yeah, let's keep going. Was just on a random bus ride where his the Ten Rings organization, which is led by his father. So essentially, let's backtrack a little bit. I'm gonna be having back and forth, just so you guys are aware. The father, okay. So essentially, the father found the mother's killer because the essentially what happened, how the mother passed away, was his past followed him. The father, because he used to be power hungry and money hungry. So he was the leader of the Ten Rings organization, which led back to the first Iron Man film. As soon as I saw the Mandarin, my smile just formed upon my face, because Iron Man is my favorite film and my favorite superhero because I grew up with the comics back in the day. But nonetheless, let's keep moving on and discussing this. So, first, we're gonna fast track a little bit. So he thought that because they both left their lives behind to form a family essentially. So he put away his 10 rings, and the mother left her village, and they found their way in. What were they? Where did they settle down? I believe it was America, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not exactly sure. But nonetheless, they settled down, had a family, and then his past followed him where it was this organization that I guess he owed him a debt or something like that. Like he caused them some form of harm where they wanted the mother to pay. So essentially, they killed her. Of course, he went into grief. Went back to his 10 rings. He said, "Oh, if I had these, none of this would have happened. She would still be alive." But then again, he lost himself. He wasn't there for his kids, for his family when they needed him the most. And we're gonna fast track a little bit back to the bus ride, where his let's go back once more. So the father's he said he found he found his wife's killer. So he sent his son to assassinate him, essentially, to have a blood debt paid for in blood. That was the saying in the film. So go back. No, yeah, going back. The son said he never fulfilled his mission, but he backtracked and said I lied and I actually did. I was with his friend, someone that he's close with. What was her name? Karen, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Or his female companion, I should say. We're gonna move on a little, and then his father's lackeys, I should say, sent them to recover their pendants. The son and the sister both have a pendant that was given to them by their mother. Said that it was gonna protect them and guide them home if they needed to, their true home. Now we're gonna fast track a little bit. The goons attack them, take the son's pendant, and then the son, Shang-Chi, So if they were after me, they're gonna be after my sister next. But apparently they didn't know where she was, and he led them to her. So they had a match together, which was funny. Like because he left the village when the father sent him on his first mission. He said, I'll be back in 3 days." 3 days turned into 6 years, if I'm not mistaken. Turned into years essentially, and then they had a fight together, which was unplanned at all. So he's getting his butt handed to him by his own sister because he promised her he'll be back in 3 days, but he never did come back. He just left, and then she ended up escaping too, as we found out later on in the film. She left her father, and then the father found them, took both their pendants, and then brought them back to the Ten Rings headquarters, I guess you could say. And then the pendants were actually dragonized in a sense, where they, when placed inside of the statue, turned into this magic, forming water around them, which it wasn't wet, it was just flowing around them essentially. And then once they did that, it led them to a map where gave him directions to entering the village at a certain time, through a certain way, because the forest, when his father first found their mother, it was by mistake, where the forest was closing in on them on its own, so it was protecting the village. But he didn't really see the village; he only saw her because she was protecting the outskirts of the village. So moving back, or fast tracking again, moving forward, the son and the daughter find the village first, warn them that their father is out of his mind, and then we find out later on that there was he thought that he was hearing his former wife's voice in him to release to help save her from the village, or from a supposed door that they were keeping her locked in, which she was. It was just the soul eater that was just this creature of darkness that was just lying to him, impersonating her voice. And then they have a little fight of the Ten Rings with the villagers as well. And then once they do that, they realize, oh shit. And then the father ends up breaking through the barrier, breaking through the not the shield. Yeah, through the barrier, I guess you could say, where he thought that the mother is being held against her will, which wasn't. And then as soon as that happened, as soon as he breached it completely, there was this big creature that just grabbed him and was taking. As soon as he was taking his soul, he realized, "Oh shit, I messed up." So he gave the rings to his son. And then he did that, the son, and then they had a great battle, and then they ended up winning at the very end, then destroying that huge creature. But what was great was, in that same movie, we saw Wong from the Doctor Strange universe, which was phenomenal. Not only Doctor Strange, earlier in the film where he was fighting his sister. Before that fight, there was a fight with Wong and what's that guy from the Hulk? Colossal. Shit, what's his name? Let me find it real quick. Let me see. Abomination. And he was from the Hulk film. And I discussed that when I did a interview of the trailer when it was first announced, or should I say released. But it was great. Like, they were really friends. They were just, I guess, providing an entertainment experience for the fans, I guess you could say, and make some money on the side as well. Now we're gonna fast forward even more. So, uh, the son saves the day, essentially the son and the daughter, and then they find out later in the film from Wong that the rings, when he first used them, it acted as a beacon for something much more. Who knows what it was? What's gonna be headed their way? And we also know that the Eternals is also coming later on this year. The Eternals, we got Venom 2. We have so much films that I'm excited for, and I'm gonna watch every one of them. Aquaman and Lost Kingdom and so on. Like literally, these comic book films are they are such dear to me because I grew up with comics essentially, and I love these comic live adaptations of these comic superheroes essentially. So, I guess moving on, I would give the film. What rating should I give it? I think a solid B. So like a 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, yeah, 3 out of 5 stars would do good. Yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. And then if you guys are planning to watch it or have watched it already but haven't watched the post credit, because with Marvel movies there's usually a post credit scene 95% of the time, but I always like to look it up as this film ends to see if there's one or two post credit scenes. The majority of the times there's only one, but I guess a good maybe 10% have two. And this one had two. The first one was where when I was discussing Wong reached out to them. He brought Shang-Chi and his female companion over and told them that there was a beacon that something's on the way essentially. And then the second post-credit scene after the actual credits, the credit roll, his sister, after his father passed away, she was, I guess, gonna dismantle the Ten Rings organization. But what she actually did was made it into her own empire, which was what she did initially when she made that fighting tournament. She made her own empire because her father didn't want her to be a part of his. She ended up building her own. So with her father's passing, she ended up making the Ten Rings organization really her own empire. So I feel like it's a necessary preparation for something much greater that's coming their way. So all in all, I definitely was excited for it. And then previously, of course, they showed the Eternals trailer in the very beginning. They showed a new trailer which I wasn't aware of. But yeah, it was phenomenal. I enjoyed it. So if you guys are planning to watch it, I had to stay away from this video or save it to your watch later. Then as soon as you do, let us know your thoughts of this video. Let us know what are your comments, if you agree with our takes on the show, if you agree with our review, or let us know if you disagree with us. Let us know in chat. Let us know in the comments. Like, let us know in Discord what are your thoughts. But nonetheless, I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate your tremendous support, and we're gonna have much more of these in review, definitely reviews as well. But this is a spoiler review as well. Keep that in mind. So we're gonna have regular reviews and then spoiler reviews, which is these films. Again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate every single one of you, and have a great one, folks.